You're welcome to today's episode on the Citizen Seat podcast. My name is Chinasa and I am your host. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about a narrative which has been troubling me since it started going around all over the place, especially immediately President Trump announced his intention to intervene in the security crisis going on in Nigeria. I don't know whether anybody has talked about this, but even if other people have talked about it, I think we have not had enough conversation around it because I see a case of the same kind of narrative that brought about people referring to the 1966 coup as the Igbo coup happening again. It is the issue that IPOB was the one behind President Trump's decision to intervene in the security crisis in Nigeria. This narrative should be concerning to every well-meaning Nigeria because it is a case of history about to repeat itself before our eyes. Each time I see people like Reno Mokri trying very hard to drag P2B into this matter, I usually think we shouldn't pay attention to it because Reno is not one to be taken seriously, as he can say anything to drive traffic to his monetized platforms. Not until the 21st of November 2025, I came across a post made by the former Kaduna State Governor, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai, where he called on Nigerians to read a certain article titled The Narrative Before the Intervention, How Washington is Shaping the Nigeria's Story. This publication was made by the Think Niger, the Reform Book blog. Unfortunately, I did not see the name of the author of the article because in place of the author, it was written #YB. I don't know what that means. So, as far as I'm concerned, because I saw it first on Malam Nasiru El-Rufai's page, I can say that he allegedly knows who authored it. And what caught my attention to this said article is this paragraph. Foreign Agents Registration Act filings in Washington show that IPOB and its affiliates hired American lobbying firms to promote a narrative of Christian persecution in Nigeria. The message was clear. Nigeria is killing Christians, the Nigerian state is complicit, and the Southeast faces genocide. These claims were crafted to appeal to the American evangelical and conservative network that sees global Christian victimhood as a political issue. Now, let us pay attention to the first sentence in this paragraph that I just read. Foreign Agents Registration Act filings in Washington show that IPOB and its affiliates hired American lobbying firms to promote a narrative of Christian persecution in Nigeria. Pay attention to IPOB. This is not me holding brief for IPOB. I am not a member of IPOB. As a matter of fact, I have been threatened by IPOB before. I don't mean online threats. The threats came directly to my phone. But the point remains that when we say IPOB, everybody knows that you're talking about a group of young Igbo people who felt they are being marginalized or they are tired of the ill-treatment they are receiving from Nigeria and wanted a country of their own. And the majority of these young people are from the Southeast. But that they are from the Southeast does not mean that the whole of the Southeast agrees totally with what they stand for. But why I think this kind of narrative should not be pushed is because it could just be another 1966 coup narrative or history about to repeat itself. In 1966, some young people headed by Kaduna Nzogwo alongside other young people from the whole of Nigeria, including the North and the Southwest, came together and attempted a coup to change a government they said was not working for the nation. At the end of the day, because of Nzogwo's involvement, that coup was tagged Igbo coup. And we all know what happened as a result of the state Igbo coup. Now, if we all keep quiet on this narrative, it is not going to be long. The term IPOB will be removed from the narrative, and then the Igbos or the Souths will be replaced with it. And if that happens, I don't know what it's going to resolve in. That is why I decided to do this video. So maybe anyone who doesn't really know what is going on, or who is trying to believe this crazy narrative, know that there are a group of people from the North Central who have been crying about a genocide that have witnesses scattered all over the country. If IPOB hired anyone to promote that there is a Christian genocide in Nigeria, I don't know. But I have seen a report titled Nigeria's Silent Slaughter, Genocide in Nigeria and the Implications for the International Community, where everything that has been going on was clearly elaborated. And what makes this report very interesting is that the legal brief that supported or called on America's intervention in the crisis was written by the current INEC Chairman, Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan, SAN. The report was adopted by a couple of people, including a member of the British House of Lords, Baroness Caroline Cox. Let me read out what Baroness Cox had to say about the report. The tragic situation in Nigeria deserves international recognition. The situation fulfills the criteria of genocide and should be recognized as such, with the responsibility of the international community to respond accordingly. For countries such as UK merely to emphasize the importance of mediation and interfaith dialogue ignores the seriousness of the crisis and the scale of persecution. Also, the report was adopted by a former member of the US Congress, Congressman Frank Wolf. Frank Wolf was in the Congress from 1981 to 2014 before he retired. Writing to the then Secretary of State, Michael Pompo, Congressman Wolf ended his letter with, "The people of Nigeria need the help of the United States." And finally, while acknowledging this report, this is what the Anglican Bishop of Jos, Most Reverend Dr. Benjamin Agakwashi, had to say in his letter to the International Committee on Nigeria and the International Organization of Peace and Social Justice, PSG. Till the truth is told and justice is done, the poor in this country, and especially the poor Christians, are going to be slaughtered every day. I welcome this report as it shares the details of atrocities and abuse in Nigeria. It is a timely report as it presents well-documented reports, data, and conclusion that the world needs to be made aware of. Now, at the end of Professor Anupitan's legal brief on the genocide that's going on in Nigeria, he issued 9 urgent recommendations to curb the genocide. He recommended for an independent international commission of inquiry, sanctions on perpetrators, UN-backed tribunal inside Nigeria, a resolution declaring calls for jihad a breach of the UN Charter, a UN Security Council referral to the ICC, global NGOs to pressurize Nigerian governments, states to sue Nigeria at the International Court of Justice for failing to prevent and punish genocide. And as a last resort, he recommended for a military action by UN, AU, and ECOWAS forces. And finally, he called on any country to arrest and prosecute anyone who has ever killed anybody, in the course of this genocide in Nigeria. All the killers in Nigeria, he recommended that anywhere they are found in the world, they should be arrested and prosecuted. Can you now see that what is going on is according to the recommendations on this report? So, where is the place of IPOB here? Like I said, let me also say it again, in case you didn't have the patience to watch the whole of this video. I'm not here to defend IPOB. I'm not even also here to say that IPOB didn't lobby anybody to come out and start promoting that there is a Christian genocide in Nigeria. But as I said, I have not seen any document that proves or shows me that IPOB did all that too. And why I'm particular about IPOB is that I know this country, except maybe with all these things going on, Nigerians can now come back, decide to stick together. But going by what some people are already saying, it is not going to be long. They will take this narrative out of IPOB lobbied. It will now be the Igbos lobbied. And then when that happens, then the Igbos will start suffering for what they don't know. So that is why I think everybody should join their voices. And let us reject this another 1966 coup narrative. They will soon hang on our necks. If any Igbo person is celebrating this intervention, it is not because they hate Nigeria. I'm even wondering why anybody would think that Nigeria does not need help at this time. Okay, I also agree to the fact that it is not only the Christians that are being killed in Nigeria. But why it is particularly about the Christians is because it is only the Christians that have made their case. Only the Christians have made their case, like putting this kind of report that I just presented now to the whole world to see. Instead of our Muslim brothers or anybody, maybe the pagans or any other person, trying to water down the facts that there is a Christian genocide going on in Nigeria, which is no longer a hearsay because there are live victims who are testifying to that fact. Instead of trying to water it down, why not the Muslim community also put up their own reports and also come for help? There is no point trying to point an accusing finger onto anybody. And Governor Nasir El-Rufai, who is talking, he is the one who was saying on the television the other day that the government is paying these killers. According to how he was making that presentation, it shows that he's feeling the pains. So why would he start now to promote this particular point? And IPOB didn't. The people of Nigeria did. North Central did. Christians from all over the country are crying. Let's also agree, yes, as was stated in that article, that IPOB also killed over 700 Christians in the Southeast. Is that not also genocide? A genocide is a genocide. It doesn't matter where it happened. If it happened in the Southeast, it is a genocide. If it happened in the North, it is a genocide. If it happened in the Southwest, it is a genocide. If it happened in Gaza, it is a genocide. Wherever a group of people are being killed because of their faith, it is a genocide. So please, I want everybody to join in this conversation. I am going to post all those letters and the recommendation from the Amupitan's reports on the comment section so that you will see it and then analyze it yourself.